Have you ever wondered what happens when obsession meets heartbreak? In this gripping tale, Mai Huong relentlessly tracks Tu Diem, knowing every move she makes. With calculated precision, she captures Diem enjoying happy moments with the Vuong family and sends the photos to Toan, the man who has been searching for her endlessly. The images shatter his hope, leaving him torn between despair and determination. Will he find a way back to her, or is she truly lost to another life? Subscribe now and follow this emotional roller coaster as secrets, jealousy, and longing collide in a story you won't forget. Mai Huong had never truly let go. Even after all these months, her obsession with Tu Diem had only deepened, morphing into something more calculated and precise. She didn't leave anything to chance. Every step, every move Diem made was meticulously tracked. Through a network of discreet informants, trusted allies, and the occasional inconspicuous photographer, Mai Huong maintained an almost omnipresent gaze on her target. She knew exactly where Diem slept, where she worked, who she met, and even the smallest details of her daily routines. Each piece of information was catalogued, organized into folders labeled with dates, times, and locations, forming a virtual map of Diem's life that Mai Huong could consult at any moment. It was a cold, methodical system, built not out of mere curiosity, but out of an urgent desire to control the narrative, to always stay one step ahead. Watching Diem's life unfold from afar had become a dark sort of satisfaction for Mai Huong. Every smile, every laugh, every casual interaction Diem had with friends or strangers alike was noted meticulously. To anyone else, it might have seemed like harmless surveillance, a simple way of knowing someone. But for Mai Huong, it was something far more intense. She felt a thrill in the secrecy, a power in possessing knowledge that Diem could never suspect she held. There was a certain artistry in it, the way shadows fell across Diem's face in candid photos, the fleeting glimpses of vulnerability she occasionally allowed in private moments, the small routines that spoke volumes about her happiness or contentment. Mai Huong absorbed all of it with a keen, almost predatory attention, like a chess master analyzing an opponent several moves ahead. And yet, there was a subtle tension that accompanied every report she received. Mai Huong couldn't help but notice the faint smiles, the laughter, the ease with which Diem moved through her days, and a part of her felt an almost imperceptible pang of envy. It wasn't just about control, it was about witnessing what she herself could not have. The freedom, the warmth, the connections Diem shared with others, all of it fueled Mai Huong's determination, sharpened her focus, and pushed her to work even harder to capture every detail. Each photograph sent by her informants, each snippet of conversation overheard, each small gesture observed from a distance was like a piece of a puzzle, and Mai Huong was determined to see the full picture, no matter how long it took. Her days were structured around this surveillance. Morning coffees, late-night walks, trips to the market, nothing was too mundane to escape her scrutiny. Sometimes, when a report arrived showing Diem laughing with someone new or enjoying a quiet moment in solitude, Mai Huong felt a surge of triumph, a cruel satisfaction in knowing she had eyes everywhere. Other times, there was frustration, a gnawing impatience when something slipped past her or when the picture was blurry, the moment lost forever. But she never let the small failures deter her. She was relentless, disciplined, and unwavering in her pursuit. The world outside her carefully constructed web could carry on as it pleased, but inside Mai Huong's domain, every move was catalogued, every secret uncovered, and every thread of Diem's life mapped with precise and obsessive detail. To Mai Huong, this was not mere stalking, it was a declaration, a silent assertion that she would always know, always see, always understand the woman who had captured her attention so completely. And in the quiet moments, when the world was still and only the soft hum of her devices filled the room, Mai Huong allowed herself a small, satisfied smile, knowing that for as long as she willed it, nothing about Diem could ever escape her notice. She was always watching, always waiting, and in her mind, that gave her the power she craved more than anything else. Mai Huong knew that mere observation was no longer enough. She wanted more than just knowledge, she craved the power that came from shaping perception, from inserting doubt and despair into the life of the one person she knew would feel it most. With meticulous planning, she arranged for her agents to capture Diem in moments that would sting the deepest. Days of preparation led to the perfect opportunity. The Vong household was hosting a small family gathering, filled with laughter, clinking cutlery, and the comforting warmth of togetherness. Mai Huong's agents knew exactly when to arrive, where to hide, and how to blend seamlessly into the background. Every detail had been accounted for, from the angle of the photographs to the lighting that would highlight Diem's happiness. Through the lenses of hidden cameras and discreet snapshots, Diem was caught unaware, laughing freely, her eyes bright with genuine joy as she sat among the Vong family. She passed dishes to a younger cousin, exchanged teasing banter with an elder, and occasionally glanced at someone with a look that spoke of trust and affection. The entire scene was a picture of normalcy and contentment, yet to Mai Huong, it was far more than that. Each frame captured was a weapon, carefully curated to strike at the heart of Toan, the man who had searched endlessly for Diem, oblivious to her happiness elsewhere. The subtle tilt of her head, the easy laughter, the unguarded expressions, all of it would convey a cruel message without a single word being spoken. Once the photos were safely in her possession, Mai Huong took her time crafting the delivery. She didn't just send them, she framed them with a cold, deliberate ambiguity, leaving just enough context to wound, without revealing the entire story. She knew Toan's heart intimately, the way he clung to hope, the way he imagined every possibility, and the way he longed to reunite with the woman he loved. These images, innocent to the casual eye, were designed to shatter that longing, to plant seeds of doubt and despair. The message arrived quietly, unobtrusive in its digital silence, yet it carried the weight of 1,000 whispered betrayals. When Toan opened the file, the world seemed to tilt. The photos displayed Diem in a setting of warmth and laughter, a stark contrast to the sleepless nights and anxious searches he had endured. His heart clenched painfully, each image a reminder of what he had not yet attained. The realization that Diem was not merely safe, but seemingly thriving in another environment, with people who cared for her, filled him with a complex storm of emotions: shock, sorrow, frustration, and a gnawing helplessness. It was more than disappointment. It was the acute sting of distance and loss, amplified by the knowledge that he had been searching blindly while she had already moved on in her life, unaware of his struggle. Mai Huong watched from afar, satisfied as she imagined Toan's reaction. She allowed herself a brief, triumphant smile, a dark satisfaction in the knowledge that her careful orchestration had succeeded. Every laugh, every glance, every shared smile in those images would echo in Toan's mind, haunting him with the vision of a life he could not touch. For her, this was the ultimate proof of control, not just over Diem, whom she had tracked and photographed, but over Toan, whose emotions she could manipulate without ever speaking a single word. In the quiet of her hidden vantage point, Mai Huong reveled in the power of her calculated move, knowing that the impact would ripple far beyond the confines of a few simple photographs, touching hearts, stirring doubts, and reshaping the reality of everyone involved. Toan stared at the images in disbelief, his chest tightening with a weight that seemed impossible to bear. The woman he had searched for tirelessly, the one who had haunted his every thought and dream, was smiling, laughing, and enjoying moments of genuine happiness that he had no part in. Each photograph was a dagger, each candid smile a reminder of how far apart their lives had drifted. The more he studied the images, the more the world around him seemed to shrink into a tunnel of grief and helplessness. His heart pounded as if it could shatter at any moment, and yet, he could not look away. The cruel irony struck him with merciless clarity. He had been wandering through nights of worry and fear, while she, oblivious to his suffering, lived in a bubble of warmth and familial love. Memories of past moments with Diem flashed violently through his mind, her laughter echoing in his ears, the tender exchanges they had shared, the unspoken promises that lingered like fragile glass between them. And now, to see her so effortlessly at ease with others was almost unbearable. He could almost hear Mai Huong's silent triumph in the way the images had been delivered, crafted to wound. Every instinct in Toan screamed to reach out, to call her, to demand some sign that she still remembered him, that a place for him still existed in her heart. But a deeper, more painful fear rooted him to the spot. What if the Diem in these photos was the Diem he had lost? What if the life she now led was one he could no longer touch, no longer belong to? Time seemed to stretch as he studied the images, each second heavier than the last. The cheerful interactions, the casual gestures of affection among family members, the quiet intimacy and small, shared jokes, all of it painted a picture of belonging, of normalcy, and of happiness that had somehow excluded him. Toan felt a crushing sense of inadequacy, a haunting awareness that while he had fought through nights of uncertainty and desperation, the world had continued without him. His heart ached with the bitter realization that the person he longed for, who had once been the center of his universe, now appeared to be thriving in a life from which he was absent. The contrast between her joy and his despair created a chasm that seemed impossible to bridge. Yet, amidst the grief and the heartache, a stubborn flicker of determination burned within Toan. He refused to allow these photographs to define the entirety of their story. While the images had the power to wound, they also revealed a crucial truth: Diem was alive, she was safe, and she was surrounded by people who cared for her. If there was still hope to reclaim even a fragment of what they once shared, he would need to summon every ounce of courage and resolve he possessed. And yet, that hope was fragile, laced with uncertainty, and overshadowed by the haunting clarity that for now, she belonged elsewhere. In the quiet aftermath, Toan lowered his phone, feeling the weight of 1,000 unspoken words pressing on him. He thought of Diem's laughter, of the life she was building, and of the cruel games that fate, or Mai Huong, seemed determined to play. A storm of emotions churned inside him: sorrow, longing, frustration, and an undying spark of love that refused to extinguish. Every heartbeat reminded him of the distance between them, every breath a painful testament to the love he carried for someone who, at this moment, seemed just out of reach. And yet, even in the midst of despair, he silently vowed that he would not give up. The path forward was uncertain, fraught with obstacles he could scarcely imagine, but Toan's heart would continue to beat for Diem, hoping against hope that one day, they could bridge the gap between the life she now lived and the love that still burned fiercely within him.